right, so we're on day 3 of the Little America's Cup 2010. We're on a bit of a delay here, so we were lucky enough to get Paul Larson with us, who's the helm professional sailor for Team Invictus, the British Challenger. Now, you have a special team. You got a kind of a big team. Tell us a little bit about your team.
It's a very interesting team. They've pretty much attacked this problem of sailing from an aeronautical background. They've come down from the skies onto the water, and now if you look at a lot of modern sailing classes, they're trying to get from the water up into the skies when you look at foiling boats and wing-sailed craft. So there wasn't a lot of background or a lot of knowledge on what it actually is that it takes to make a racing boat, but they had the understanding of the wings. So for us to get involved and for Gordon to get involved also, we really needed to have the crossover when you start taking it off the designers and the engineers and take it out of the shed and go and put all their designs and structures and everything in action out in the race environment. And part of us coming to this event is, like the final exam of, to see whether they've passed with their designs and structures. But one thing that's been very interesting with them and interesting for me is their passion and commitment. Some of their stuff has been right and wrong, but they've gone out there, they've got used to breaking the boat and fixing it and going and looking for their weak links. It's very hard and very expensive to do that in the aerospace industry, and I think they've really enjoyed that hands-on approach that building one of these boats is. And the fact that when we've broken the boat, they've gone back and improved it and fixed it and come back out again, and that all members of the team have contributed has been really the backbone of this project. And that's why a lot of people, a lot of people talk about these boats in Europe, but that's the only C-class boat that's been built in Europe and has turned up for the event. So it's a credit to that team.
Do you get a lot of people that come out to see you sail when you rig up?
You do. Sometimes they don't really know what they're looking at. Now that we're starting to sail it a lot more competently and go out there and it's exuding C-class-like behaviour in flying around in little wind and looking spectacular, then everyone's starting to come up and have a lot closer look. And a lot of the older boys are just as interested as the kids. But we always said down there in Weymouth, the first kid who comes up and asks for a ride on this boat, we'll put him on the helm and send him out there, and no one's come and asked yet. So
can I get a ride on the boat?
Sure. You can go out now. You can be the wind dummy if you like. But it's,
yeah. Speaking about right now, you are feeling pretty good about your wing, and it's really solid. So you wouldn't mind going out right now, would you?
No, we'd be one of the teams definitely to go out there. I mean, we've got there's not going to be another race next week. One of the cards that we're going to have to play. We're not going to win the technical battles over what the Canadians have got there, but if we can do reliability in our time on the water and practicing doing windward lewards, tacking, jibing, going around marks counts for anything, then a bit of wind would put the other teams under more pressure. So we'd play that card. We'd be happy to.
Since you guys no one's really been able to line up against each other. So Magnus on Canaan was saying your pre-settings are really important.
Absolutely. You got a 1 mile leg. I mean, you're going to be 5 minutes out on one tack, 5 minutes on the other, coming into a weather mark with probably a few other boats around, and you want to come around that mark and be straight into the mode. And if you can get in your modes really quick and you're hitting all your ley lines and just always going fast, then you're going to do all right in these conditions.
Let's talk about your other program, the Sail Rocket. You're going for the outright speed record. Give us a little update on that.
Righto. Well, we're about 2 months away from launching the new boat. I was hoping to have it launched before we came over here, but we've moved on an order of magnitude from that boat. I didn't want to go out there and just go a couple of knots faster and then be beaten by a kite surfer, next year. We've put a lot of time, effort, money into this next boat, so we've aimed to make it a bit future-proof. It's got a lot of reserve in the structure, and it's got a lot of stability. The basic concept is that when we're going absolutely at the limit, if the foils fail us, we've still got a stable platform. It's not going to result in a huge wipeout.
That's what everyone wants to hear about, wipeout. Can you take us through your last wipeout?
There's been so many wipeouts. The most memorable wipeout for many people was obviously the somersault, which was quite surreal because it was something in my mind. I was going up there and about to have achieve a lifetime dream of getting the outright record. The previous run, the boat had emerged as the fastest boat in the world, and ticked one of the boxes and finally beating Yellow Pages, and which was to me, one of the boats that inspired me. And I was going up there to do the 50-knot run, and that was going to be the last time that boat ever sailed. And I sailed onto that course. I swear my heartbeat would have been quite low. It was just a time to enjoy. So when that thing went airborne and took off, it was totally surreal. But the designer had predicted somewhere in the low mid 50s. It was going to have, in his words, a pitch instability, which in other people's words is a somersault. And when I look at it, it was only a second or two in the air, but I can remember every phase of that boat going up and over the top. I didn't have a seatbelt or anything, so the fact that I was stuck in the cockpit all the way around and through shows how much of a pendulum effect was holding me in there.
Some G's.
Yeah, it was. But to walk ashore afterwards and look back at the wreckage, and the GPS was in there, and we had to get that little CF card out dry to actually have the record. And we took that smashed up boat back to the shore.
It was like the black box, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The flight record, it was all in there, and we took it back to the back to the beach that night, and we had the fastest boat in the world, but it was all smashed up, and it was but we poured champagne on it nonetheless, and we had no idea we'd done over 50 knots until we downloaded that data, and then we started to realize just how hard that thing had accelerated, and all after that we realized that we must have done 10 runs right on the edge of that thing going over, and we were just ignorant to how close it was. So
how much was it blowing that day?
it peaked out, the average wind strength on that day was on 24 knots, so it wasn't that windy, but since then we've had a few much bigger crashes and a lot more violent crashes. I think we've hit the shore at 36 knots and just completely stuck it up on its nose on the foil. We had one, we went from 47 knots to a zero in nothing, and I just got completely wiped out of that one. So my recollection of that one's pretty fuzzy, but we still got some good videos to show you, Anarchist, one day.
Yeah, you've got some inside stuff that you're still waiting to come out with.
Yeah, keep some of the powder dry.
Oh, cool. So when should we be looking forward to your next run?
The next run on that, we'll do the initial shakedown of the boat in hopefully in October. I'd like to make it at Speed Week in Weymouth, but we'll just make sure all the systems are working properly. It should be capable of hitting over 50 knots in Weymouth Harbour, which will be a first. But after that, over winter, we'll take it down to Namibia, back to the wind tunnel, and we'll send it down that scary nautical mile one more time.
Well, good luck to you,
Thank
and
you.
good luck in the next few days. So we have 3.5 days left, and I hope you get plenty of races in.
Luck's the best sponsor you can have. So.
Yeah. Well, that's Paul Larson, the helm for Invictus.
Anarchy!